Tired, old and tired.
Don't age is just a number.
Glad we
You know.
recorded that.
Mm, yeah. So today's extra crunchy and extra terrible.
Bit going on, huh?
Yeah. It's been a sad, heavy, heavy day. I did have a nice chat with my son, so that was nice.
Yeah, good. That's you know, it's a change. It's a shift. And they're all connected.
I know.
I mean, that's pretty big.
I can't wait for my session with Massey.
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
this is what you see start happening when you connect with a constellation that has if the practitioner has the capacity to go to ground zero with you, like the integrity is there, and how do I say it? Because it's an information field and it's always there. It's the universe.
It's
Yeah, the whole
it's
universe,
what they call the Akashic records too,
Akashic
right?
record. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
I mean,
entire
Veda
universe.
Austin has even spoken of it all being in the water, like in the air.
So
Like it's just everything.
throughout history, there've been lots of references to it, and it's the way constellation works. Constellation work operates exactly
Works.
the way constellation work works. Yeah, how do we say that? Um, so when your capacity to go to 0 point meets a practitioner who can hold the field without getting in the way, when you two connect, I mean, when you connect with anyone with the intention to go into a constellation, then as soon as you make the commitment, the field opens up. So you start actually going through the process then, not just when you have the appointment. But the deeper the power of the capacity of the two people concerned to go there without getting in the way, then the more profound that gets.
Yeah,
So that by the time you actually have the session,
right.
you can actually go through the process really quickly. Hi, Sonia.
Hey guys.
Life, the universe, and everything. Cheers.
It's awful.
42, as we like to
He and I
say.
don't want to cheers to anything.
No, we ain't cheers into shit. Sonia just texted me like an hour ago. She's like, "Is it us? Are we insane?"
God, if I had $1 for the amount of time I've heard people say that.
I said, I said we're willing to look at the things nobody, not nobody, but so many are not willing to look at. Like I can't
I'm not
pretend.
looking. I'm just feeling shit. I'm not looking.
Yeah,
I
looking.
know.
Yeah.
Looking. I
I,
mean, it's like what I
it's
told my son today. Like I said, don't feel you need to wear a mask, that you need to pretend that the heaviness that you feel for the world, for our country, for your own personal life, like you don't need to carry a mask, dude. The problem is the masks.
Yeah.
but then I feel like if I don't have the mask, then I get more, you know.
There is a sort of, yeah,
What? That
there's
you're
a point.
perpetuating it?
You got to know your audience. Like if it's
I
someone
know.
who's really asleep, I'm gonna
No.
I'm gonna self-preserve and say, I'm
Exactly.
fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
great.
I can't do that with him so much anymore. Like today, I just went straight to all of it. And I said, and I shared this with Gareth. I think I texted him and I said, you just remember when things get really weird and heavy, and they're gonna. I said, just remember everything I've been saying for 7 years. I'm right here for you. Like, it's gonna be okay. I mean,
Good.
even if he doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's gotta feel good to hear your mom say that, right?
Yeah. And you can leave it at that too. It's
Yes,
good.
and I did.
Exactly. Because he doesn't have the context to fully put the words into yet,
No.
but you've given him a reference point to make that context crystallize faster by saying it at the same time. So there is a relationship. You just can't force the pace.
No. And I'm not trying to,
No.
he welcomed the call, which is not very common.
Yes,
But
and he's vulnerable, in a way that which is the good thing. He's a bit more vulnerable because there's change does that. He knows he's got to change his circumstances, but he's not sure. Dot dot dot, and that's just what happens with change. And we've been programmed to think of change that way. So straight away it opens you up. And I love the way
mhm,
Ramana put it. What did he say? Offer all that you are and give only what's asked for,
I use that a lot.
which puts your attention on those two things. Okay, all that I am, what is that? And what are they asking for? Like, where are they at? You start to sort of differentiate, and then you can discern. You discern, and that's important because another big part of this is holding your up what's yours and giving back what's theirs, and getting a feeling for what that is. And one of the triggers is emotional reactionaryism. That's how this whole inversion works. Our reactionaryism. So we just vent on the sleepers. It's the same thing as what was done to us to put us in that situation in the first place, in a way. So we're just perpetuating it when we do that.
Well
But it's
said. Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
intense. It's like burning up in a fire. You're holding the feeling you've got because you've got nowhere to put it. But you can't lie to yourself. That's why it's intense. But that's the whole thing with that saying. Meet the feeling, and you let the I that feels it burn up in it, because that's ego death. That's essentially what you do when you say, let the feeling be there, don't argue with it. What's the point of arguing? I feel like shit about life and myself and la-di-da-di-da. I've been pretending all my life. So let's stop doing that. Here's the feeling. But by meet the feeling, it's more like, let's take the definition of the feeling away for a sec and ask it what it actually is. So in a sense, that's the frame of reference. And then the story, let the story be there, and don't just believe it verbatim. As soon as you do that, the I that's holding the story is burning up in that intensity, not so much you. And there's a difference. And
Feels like
slowly
me.
over time, the judgment that runs the story isn't the only game in town. Discernment starts to come back. And it's intense because you're moving in a spiral. So it feels like you're going round and round in the same old patterns, and you are in a way. But discernment does that. You kind of try to pick out the terrain in a new way that you haven't seen before. And it's not just about the view, but the capacity to view it growing, because that's what was stunted from childhood. We weren't allowed to form around that viewpoint, that capacity. So they're shrinking the inverted self and allowing the true self to form up. And they're going to argue with each other. Well, the ego that controls is going to argue with that big time, which is really all the normies are going through. The normies.
Just
God, who?
it's just so somatic. Like, ugh.
Mm.
Like I feel like I'm fairly disciplined when it comes to meditation and stuff, but it's just like from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, I'm like, come on, this can't be
Yeah.
real. Like there's usually some,
Relief?
yeah,
There's none.
why? I don't, how could it not be?
I know. It feels pretty fucked.
Yeah. I'm like,
Sonia asked me earlier if Gareth had felt like we do now when you were waking up. And
God, yeah. Jesus. Oh, man. Absolutely.
just
Absolutely.
terrible.
I mean,
Okay.
that's, like I said, 93, I was what? This is the power of Saturn return. I was coming into Saturn return, so what, 28, something like that. And my life started to fall apart. There was a few reasons for that, but basically in the middle of the night, I wake up in the middle of the night saying out loud in bed, like, I mean, I'm asleep, waking up to myself saying, like, if this is all there is to life, I could die right now and I wouldn't care. But then because I woke up on the last word, it hit me how much it was true. Bang. It was like every cell in my body was saying it. There was nothing left of me that could argue with it. I was gone, done. That's it. And luckily, I'd had all of these 5D experiences.
yeah,
And it
that's
was
what I said to
particularly,
her. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the whole point of why I had to live that way, as hard as it was, because it was part of the reason why I woke up that way, because I had this split life. But I had to be that way so that I knew I could ask for help, because I knew it was okay as well, that it was part of it somehow.
How long were you in that deep of a despair? Because Sonia said to me, and Sam has said this to me many times, like 7 years, Katie. I don't know how anybody could do that. And I don't know. It was just like a one foot in front of the other thing. And I was so close to ending it so many times. And if I feel like Sonia does, and we resonate when we can feel the energy when we're talking and texting, not even like face to face or voice. When we're texting, we can feel the energy and know the other one gets it. So she gets it when she imagines that 7 years. Like, how long were you in that horrible feeling? Like, why hasn't Tom come to me and said, okay, you're ready to die? We could talk. And I'm not saying I expect it, right?
Yeah.
But like I told her, it's like I can't help but compare. Like I've been on my knees. I've completely dead ego in a moment. And like, come on, Tom, show yourself.
Right. And that's look, that's part of it, to be honest. That's part of it. Remember this, there's so much code in language and experience. Like it's mind-blowing. That's part of the sentence, the book, uh, what was the sentence? The book, it's kind of like the book of knowledge, the book revealed at the end of time. So I can't remember the exact phrase now, but it's really just the code of life, like direct experience of life. It's right there. So when you say that, there's a kind of an externalized idea, and I did have that experience with Tom. However, and it is possible. However, it's all there right now as well. And the word alone, L1, um, he said at one point, when you're feeling this way, you may ask for a protective beam of white light from Altea. And that word is code. So Al is a name, that's one of the words for God or the source or divine or the energy. And T is why he used the name Tom. It's that graphic of how the universe works, that field of information. It's the white light, colored light. And then Ea is earth or the physical plane. So when you put them all together, you get the totality of the all it is. And you can ask for direct help in that moment, but just by connecting to that fact, like if you trust that, when you're feeling that way, and this is all I had. I just knew it was there, even though I hadn't, it wasn't like suddenly the clouds opened and Duke Ellington's brass sections pumping out horns of love through the clouds at me or anything. Religion's done a great job of making it all look like it's got to look dramatic because it ain't like that. Extraordinary, ordinary, it's everyday life. It's right here. Um, and but that you start noticing things. You start noticing these little kind of things that couldn't be coincidence. There's a pattern playing out in front of you, and the more you notice it, two things happen. One is the more you notice it, the more you're able to notice it, the more it shows itself
Shows
because it's
itself.
always it's exactly it's not like it's new. It's always been there. We've just never had the eyes to see it because we never had a
Nope.
motivation to. So first
Right,
you
right.
first you got to have a reason to. Hang on a minute, I could die. What so what? That's a good motivation. So you start opening your eyes up, and again that word "I," that play around with the synonyms of "I." Always play around with it. Now, phonetics and language and synonyms are really, really good way to decode things. But the other thing is it releases old energy, and that's the whole point. And that's why you've got to be able to hold it yourself, but you're being held in that process because it's that resistance to letting that old energy exist that's always been worked against us. Problem, reaction, solution. When you don't play that game, you separate from the mind control system. And that's very important because you've got this, as you said, out of fifth element, you've got this capacity to be objective that you never had before. in a field of information that's always been there, that's describing to you the inversion and the truth all at the same time and exactly how to relate to it. But it comes to you in real time, suited to exactly where you're at the point you're at. And there are always multiple timelines, and each choice you make sort of moves you through these timeline processes. So Tom's holding that whole process. As soon as you connect directly, you have that conscious conversation, you're not going to get an answer through the clouds. You're going to get an answer right here, here and here. But there are times, I mean, I've been back at that place I was when I asked for help multiple times because it was a different time too. Like now it's way
Yeah.
more intense,
Yeah.
but it's also way more tangible. Whereas when I was doing it, what are you talking about? Life's great. No one had a fucking clue. No, you're not. You're living in an inversion. This is not reality. I mean, what was I going to say to anyone back in the 90s? I mean, yeah, okay, you could say stuff about the financial system and the corporate greed and, blah, blah, but it was nothing like this.
No, people can hear
So,
it now. People
exactly. So
have an inkling.
that's it. So, I was completely alone in it, but it was intensely powerful, like very intensely powerful at the same time. But it had to be that way as well, which is why I had to have the 5D those experiences. Because the one that really got me was I mean, there was a lot of them, but the one that really kind of came to me in that when I woke up that night was when I fell off the roof. I was like 9 years old and I slip off, I'm hanging by the fingertips of the scaffolding on a building site. It's a 3-story drop and bricks and glass, and I have plenty of time to think about what could happen. And which all of the outcomes were not what I wanted. But I knew it was inevitable. I couldn't keep hanging on. And when I slipped, I'm lowered to the ground in a giant hand with 9 images sitting in front of me, and I hit the ground like it was nothing. It was, it was like jumping off a step. Like there was no
And you
impact.
had a friend watching this.
I had a friend he was standing on the roof when I got up. He was just looking at me like, you know, I don't know what he saw. I really don't know what he saw. He said,
Same.
"Are you all right?" I said, I have to go home because I was 9 and I've just been shown the entire universe and gone through something that doesn't make any sense, but I knew it did. And how do even start to talk about that? But I knew it was an analogy. Somehow I knew it was an analogy, and it was important that I had that reference point for later. So that's always stayed with me because it looks like you're falling to your death,
Mm,
doesn't it?
mm,
You've got no control, and
this
it's
is death.
death. You're talking the feeling of like death, like you're dancing. It's an existential crisis on a scale that you can't
Have
put words
words.
around. Exactly.
Mm-mm.
So you need to know that you're being held through that. You can't take away that experience. You just got to trust that it isn't what your mind's telling you. And that there's a reason why it has to feel the way it does, but it isn't what the feeling isn't innate to the experience. If you knew ahead of time, if I had have known ahead of time what I knew at the end of that experience and the time I've had to process it, there wouldn't have been a problem. But I had to go through the experience of thinking there was a problem to get to the point where I knew it wasn't what I was thinking.
Mm.
And that's the whole human race. That's the transition. You're going through a process the suffering you're experiencing is really thoughts masquerading as feelings from a subconscious layer of a mind control program designed to stop you living the life you were born to live. It's that simple.
I
And the
think
only
we
way
know
out is to
that,
see it. Exactly. You just haven't seen it fully yet.
Yeah, I've seen
yes.
glimpses, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
No,
not.
exactly.
glimpses. Yes.
Yeah. And
Like
That's
my
I
why
job
think
I'm
is
I'm
just
we
to be
even
here to tell
being
you.
more careful of my thoughts, but yeah.
but
Yeah.
but even having the understanding, Sonia, makes it almost even more maddening. Like, I know this isn't real. I know I'm, you know,
Still
perpetrating
sucks.
my own shit. But like, okay, then give me the rules to stop it. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
then you see all these people manifesting shit, and you're just like, oh God, like,
but are they
I'm
really?
a bad manifester. I'm not, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
not good
The
enough.
opposite. The opposite is true.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. Look, fuck, I know. Trust me. I'm still here we are. We've given up everything in the 3D world to get what promises you the life that you want. But you've just got to go this way to get it. So there's always this carrot in front of you, the house,
He's a
the,
Karen.
the life that you can finally stop and say, I finally did it. But it's done that way. Like you're chasing a mirage. You'll never get where you were trying to go because the system is designed to destroy that capacity. So, you can see families going through it. You got a mortgage like, and you've got two cars loans, and you've got kids going through private school and college, and you're making what should be a ridiculously
Yeah.
easy life money, and yet there's no headroom ever.
That's
Doesn't matter what you do.
exactly what Liam said today. That's exactly what Liam said to
Yeah,
me. He's like, Mom, I don't make shit money. I don't make a lot of money, but I don't make shit money and I can't afford anything. Like I
exactly.
can't afford to live. And I said, just hold on, buddy. The way things are not sustainable. That's not the way it's supposed to be. This isn't going to be forever. Just hold on and know I'm here.
Hmm.
I like,
That's
what do
it.
you say? What do you say when they don't have the reference that we three here and everyone watching do? Like, all
Yeah.
I could
To
do is
me,
tell him, I know it's not the way it's supposed to be. Just hold on.
that's right.
But
Well,
I'm worried that that's like, but what if that's a psyop too? Like, just, be passive and don't do anything. Now, I can't
there's
physically do anything anyways. So like,
I know.
literally, I'm just forced. I have no, I can't do, I
yeah,
literally can't do anything. So I don't even, but that
there's a difference. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but there's a difference between disconnecting from the question, what's the truth, and running away. And let's say the version of disconnecting from the matrix that works is going on the Nebuchadnezzar. Like that's essentially what you're doing. You haven't run away to a mountaintop somewhere to disconnect from the problem because that doesn't change anything because it's a reaction against something which gives it power.
Yeah.
The whole point is to separate from it while you get a handle on reality because the thing about the reason that works is because reality has a natural state. There is an absolute reality, and that you have there's an absolute reality to you and reality. And when you disconnect from, hang on a minute, which way's up again? You can't control it, but you can't unsee the question. And as soon as you've done that, you've connected to the truth of who you are, which comes to you as guides and the Nazarene and higher self,
Numbers and words
all
and
sorts of,
things coming in threes and yeah, repeatedly.
until you've assimilated enough of that perspective to emanate from it yourself. Yeah, and that's the Nebuchadnezzar. You don't know which way's up. You're eating slop on a submarine. You don't know like what the hell's going on, and all you know is you just keep getting pulled into these experiences and told random stuff at different times that you're going, okay, right, if you say so, and then one day you're staring at your hands while all the same stuff is flying at you. But you don't care. Find the one who cares. You're looking at your hands going, oh my God, I was creating it the whole time by thinking it was real. And you see it for what it is. But
The
you
moment Neo can deflect all the bullets and the people, and he's like,
without even thinking about it.
"Wah!"
At first, it's like, and then after a while, it's like nothing because it is nothing. They
Yep,
have no power. If you don't
yep,
believe it, but you can't superimpose that. You can't phone that in and say, like, I know all the things because there's an investment in getting rid of it, which feeds the problem.
right.
And that's fine. It's fine. You've just had a layer
Mm-hmm.
of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it and you can see what you're doing and you go, oh God, I wish I wasn't. But you can't change that you are. But you've recognized it in a way that disables its ability to stay connected over time. You just can't control that time, which is what the nine group, when I was there talking to Tom, that's why they describe it as you're all on Tom time now. And he said, we do not have the time set by men. And that's why it's called the end times. It's not like the world ends. It's this
Mm-hmm.
superimposed clock over reality because you go to school, you've got to disconnect from your natural connection to the flow of life and be there by 9 and go to the next class by this time. And over time, you get disconnected from your natural ability to read the moment and let it take you, which is natural. There's no kids don't argue with that. It's just innate in us. But over time, you get pulled out of that by this superimposed 24-hour clock. And there's
Urgency
lots of
culture.
ramifications. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
urgency culture. Yeah, I did say to Liam that we're in a form of enslavement. He could hear me.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, Anna and I knew that we weren't going to get the house on the hill while this system operated. And I knew enough about our soul purpose, system busters, that the best thing you can do is let life take you and, let that flow of. I don't know where the next step is until I do. Oh, there it is. Anna will say something. There'll be a process playing out in front of us. And she'll say a few key words, the dolphin sonar thing. My clear sight will light up. We have a choice in front of us. I've just found a house. We've been offered this house over here, or we can stay here where, around your cousin's place near where I grew up. Which one do you want to go? The one around the family, there was a school there. It makes more sense on a 3D level. The one over here, it's like, it doesn't make sense to that mindset. But I knew if we stayed there, we would get pulled into that. The family pressure to pull us into that mindset when we were vulnerable would be too great. We needed to separate from it, and that's why that opened
Mm,
up. And it
mm.
was difficult. It was difficult, but there was a purpose for that too. So let's go this way. It's like that, and step after step after step.
And my version of that is no longer partaking in holidays and celebrations with the family. The things I would always do that look like the things you should do that I can no longer do. Like I
Which you get
can't,
heat for.
you get unbelievable pressure, not outward, but you can feel it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, the
Yeah.
one who feels the pressure is the one in family system work and the four pillars work who facilitates the inversion. There's always a connection to the pressure to conform, but the self that feels that pressure and connects to it and moves with it, that's the part we can control. That's the part that needs to be healed because that's not us. That's why it's so intense because you feel that and you got nowhere else to go because you weren't allowed to grow up around anything else. That's all you know yourself to be. So it's call it the adaptive self, the false self, adapting to this inverted world.
This is a very long ego death, it feels, but it is the death of everything I ever was. It really is. Like the Katie that is doing these things isn't doing the things she did for 50 years, and nobody knows what to do with that. And I don't blame them. There's no blame here. But it's this is a long, drawn out rebuild of the real Katie. I can't do the things. I'm not interested in the things. I am so not interested in life on this planet as it is. Nope, nope, nope. Except the small pockets of like the way forward and all of you and, awake and able to talk about real fucking
These
things.
conversations. Yeah,
These
exactly.
conversations, oh my God. Like when I invited Sonia, she's like, yeah, I need connection. But it's not connection, period. It's connection like this.
That flows.
That's
Something in your
understood.
heart.
Yeah.
Yes, the heart knows. The heart knows. And it's to get the mind's ability to receive that knowing involves displacing that false self because the motivation behind it is at odds with, it's one of the things Tom said, your motivation is your protection in all things. So that question, the truth, what is it really? And the willingness to ask it no matter where you are and what you're doing, like, who am I being right now? Which one has, this feels too much for who? And you're not going to get an answer and it feels too much. You're in the two, but you're willing to ask the question. Is the one who has the problem real? I can dance around in the symptoms of the one who has the problem and
Yep.
fix one at a time, or I can go straight to 0 point, satsang. Who am I being right now? And
I
I've
ask that
been,
question all day long in the words that I want to text to somebody or the relaying of a story. What's your motivation? Why do you want them to know that you
yeah,
did this or that
great.
you know that person or that there's so much ego. Unbelievable. Like somebody tells you something you already know. Who is it that wants to jump and say, I already knew that? Or you know what I mean? Like it's ugly. Like it's almost
So,
like as good as I was so not good. Like it's so weird. Oh, something resonated with Sonia.
That's why that's why I love you so much because you're so funny. You're
yeah,
but you do it anyways, and I know like when I'm getting a text message, I laugh like
yeah.
it's sweet. I
She's
think
willing to
it's
put it out there. We're all
yeah,
going through the same thing, but we want to hide it from each other because we're supposed to be.
exactly.
So
I
she
kind of
just goes, "Oh,
hide
fuck
it, but
that,"
Katie doesn't, and that's amazing. Like
and it gives us all permission to just, oh, I feel the same way.
I feel yeah.
I mean, I don't know though. Like it, and then the one that's dying, the Katie that's dying, feels so horribly that I had that agenda or that I had that motivation to say that thing or already know that thing. I think, and I've explained it to other people before, there's a level of we were all made to be small for so long. So right now, that Katie is like you're telling me that I knew it already. Like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, Katie wouldn't have done that. Like I wouldn't have had the courage, or I would have done it, but from like just an inauthentic place. I don't know exactly how I'm saying it, but we're so driven by the ego.
Yes.
What are you laughing at, girl?
Some of the things you post on Instagram, like they kill me. Like I would never post those things. And you were just like a trumpet, It's just
Really?
like, oh my
It's
God.
so good, Katie. It's so good.
It's
She
good?
went
See,
there. She went there. And it is really freeing. It's
Did you
totally.
do you watch my story, Sonia? I did a story recently. I saw this I can't remember. The Improbable Dreamer is a really good page to follow. And I think it was Owen Benjamin did a thing about the fake Helen Keller and the fake Stephen Hawking. And now in the comments, they all want to talk to each other about it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally sharing that. Because even if I'm wrong and they're real and they aren't a psyop, at least it gets somebody thinking. I personally don't think they're real. I think they're planned sympathy and emotional targeting, like everything, every single thing in our reality, in my opinion, is socially engineered. None of this shit is real. It's all fake and gay, and we're all figuring it out. But I want to be gleeful about it being fake and gay, right, Sonia? I want to be gleeful, but like the majority around us isn't. So this is why these Zoom calls and the groups and conferences I go to are the lifeline because that's
Yeah,
where I can say that shit.
that's it. Yeah.
we're
And I mean, that's
so stifled. Yeah. Yeah.
it, isn't it? And you can see the agenda behind all of the so-called,
Everything.
yeah, I mean, this whole woke agenda thing. I mean, it's the exact opposite of what it's trying to look like. It's shutting
Yep.
down free speech. It's shutting down sovereignty. I mean, ironically, all the minority groups that are supposed to espouse this is, you know, what high society looks like. They're looking to defend their rights, is eclipsing the rights of everybody else around them. So
Yep.
it's just doing the same thing that was done. It's the same old story: victim, perpetrator, victim, perpetrator, victim. It's the
And
same old
and
MO.
I was the bad guy at social work school. I'm really proud of that moment.
what do
We
you
did a
mean? Explain.
we had a lot of anti-racism training at social work school, and I've I just put my foot in it every time, and I got labeled the racist. So I think that
Isn't
was
that
good.
ironic?
Good for you.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
Because
but they
quite honest,
the mob really they come after you so hard,
yeah,
like they're robots.
and they twist everything you say,
yeah,
and it's
that's right.
all that's how I have to believe it's all preparation because these waves
Exactly.
they keep
For
getting more
them,
and more intense.
for
I
them
mean,
and you.
I feel like we have to be getting stronger for whatever's coming.
And freedom of
Yeah, yeah.
speech isn't listening to the pretty person who says the things you agree with. Freedom of speech is anybody being able to say anything and you not reacting to it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to subscribe to it. You don't have to go along with it.
Yeah,
Freedom of speech is, oh,
I think people are learning maybe that now. But
God,
the
that's right.
the, the need to be good and the is really strong with all of
I
us.
mean that's the thing. I mean, and there is a line, but I mean they're using trauma, which was created by them, by the way. They're using the extreme expressions of trauma, things like fascism, racism, you know, misogyny, like
all of
that
it.
are trauma driven. That are trauma driven, right? They're
The trauma
using
they
that
created.
exactly as a kind of excuse to wipe out free speech, full stop. That there's that you've got to create a system that stops those people. Means totalitarianism. So essentially, it's problem, reaction, solution always leads to totalitarianism, centralization
Yeah.
of power, and that's exactly what's playing out. It's right in front of everybody, and the people who are playing the game are serving a purpose in a sense because they're acting as the the face of what that does to society, whilst there are a whole group of people who are looking at it that way. And that's never happened in the history of the human race, not on this scale.
Mm-mm.
Civilizations have popped up along the way in parts of Asia and Middle East and Europe, etc. But that's like it doesn't matter what a small group of people see. It's a whole human race as a
Yeah.
whole. Now it's either you're seeing things, you're being willfully ignorant and playing the game, or you're not. It's like that polarized.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. There's a big reason for that. And uh, they have no choice but to wake up to the reality of what they've been allowing themselves to live through. And so that guilt and shame you're feeling, that's why Tom said it's better for you if you choose it. The guilt and shame that we're all feeling, that is a necessary part of waking up, is nothing compared to the guilt and shame they're going to feel, which they've grown up with too, right? They've
Yes.
just allowed that to be inflamed to the point where it's taken them over. And they've then allowed that inflammation to be used to destroy the human race. Because without them participating, without us participating, it can't happen. So that has to be woken up to by the human race as a whole. This is how it works. We invite it in by thinking things that way around. So they're playing a role, but they're just going to have to get from A to B through the intensity of realizing COVID vaccinations, the impact of them, for instance, la di da di da, you name it, the impact of the woke agenda, the trans agenda, what that was really designed to do, the impact of the climate change agenda, what that was really designed to do. The Bible is all the same thing. So
I'm
the
watching
impact of that,
Sonia shake her head.
So it's so bad. It's brutal.
It's
is
gross.
brutal,
It's
but it's
it's
also
brutal.
extremely simple. They use complication, complexity to hide the simple truth that it's all the same agenda by the same group for the same outcome, and it's all just one thing, really. And all you got to do is look at it, be willing to look at it. And there are people within those agendas who have woken up. I've
Yeah.
seen videos
And
by
but I was
people.
but to backtrack, Katie, I feel like our family can't talk to us because there's that guilt and shame barrier. Like they can't that they'll have to feel to connect with us because they must on some level know that they're in the wrong and that
Yep.
we've forgiven them, but they haven't done their part. You know what I mean? Like I don't I really think it's just they're not they just can't.
They're not ready to eat crow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to look at yourself as complicit in what's happened on the planet. It's a hard thing. I was a bleeding heart liberal, and not to again polarize and do the whole Republican liberal thing. I don't or Democrat thing. I don't believe in that anymore, but I was marching on Washington. Like I even just saw there's like a march in Albany to Washington for animal rights, and I understand the motivation, but I want no part of that like fight energy, that resist energy, that anti energy. And now that I see that we were controlled through our televisions, through our movies, through our books, through our schools, through our doctors, there isn't anywhere on the planet where we are not controlled. And when you wake up to the control, you see all these people in our families and all of our friends still under the thumb of that control. And not only are you triggering them, but they're triggering you, reminding you of who you were and what you
Well,
did.
Hmm.
It's a
yeah.
hard thing to look at. It takes a lot of courage. And it looks like you're sitting around not working a 9 to 5 and eating bonbons, and you're doing the hardest work you can possibly imagine.
That's the irony.
That's the
That's the irony.
irony of it.
Yeah. But the other thing to look at because of this is you're right. It's, because this is the ramification of that there is an absolute reality to life, and there is a truth to who you are. And there's this overlay of mental construct that argues with it. So what's actually happening is they're arguing with themselves through you. So with the waking up process is the ability to start to move away from that and look at it as a mirror. We
Yeah.
just weren't given the tools to do that, but that's
No.
basically what you do. What they're looking in the mirror. It's not them yelling at you, and it's not you they're yelling at. And when you get that, when you start to get that, you go through the feelings because there's a role in that. Remember, guilt and shame. Guilt for women, guilt and shame for both men and women, but men tend to move more to shame because of the
Mm.
active principle, the ramifications of how the active principle works with life. Life for a man is a feminine energy. Life for a woman is a masculine energy, the flow of life coming to you. So guilt tends to be a bigger part for women and shame tends to be a bigger role for men. But essentially managing yourself, you have to feel that you're not right as you are first, and then those emotional dynamics it's this control system. That's the connection point. Managing, trying to be a better person because of the judgment around guilt and shame. So you're going to feel all of that. It's very, very important. In fact, you can't get to the others. That's why the Arcturian said, we cannot do it for you. You cannot go around it. You can only go through it. That it to go through is the impact of the ego that controls trying to make everything fit this picture you were never given. How are you going to succeed when you don't even know what it is you're trying to achieve? It's
Yeah.
designed to make you feel it and keep on reinforcing it. So, of course, turning around, reversing the inversion, going back the other way means going back through a whole series of experiences perfectly set up and perfectly timed because you've asked Tom for help directly to bring you
Yeah.
back through those feelings in a controlled way, one moment at a time, so you can normalize and get information at the right
Yeah.
time so you can assimilate it because you couldn't have heard what you hear at this level, at the level above. There was too much in the way. You need to get that out of the way first, then you can hear the next bit. That facilitates deepening. So it's a spiral. Your emotional intelligence deepens and
Yeah.
deepens and deepens. It gets easier for you to turn up at Christmas. I just had my brother's birthday with my family. My dad's dying. It's brought up everything from the family that I've never been able to really deal with, and I've had to meet it internally as well and use the experience. The last thing I wanted to do was go. All I wanted to do was yell abuse at them all. And I knew better. And I knew it was a purpose for me. So I had this dynamic satsang and Byron Katie where I could meet the feeling and let the story be there and ask a couple of key questions. How do I treat myself and them when I believe that? And then you see the perpetrator, you see the victim taking on the attributes of the perpetrator and trying to balance out by putting it back at them, by throwing what
Yes.
they throw at you back at them.
Yes.
That's the inverse way of doing it. But the way to put it back around the right way is to take what's yours and give back to them what's theirs. Their pain expressed is their responsibility to hold. Your pain expressed is your responsibility to hold. And there's a difference. And in that moment, I was sitting in the car park, burning up in it with my wife sitting next to me and going through the direct experience of that feeling. And and when I saw that, the relevance of the story, what is it? It's not them talking. It's this pain, this story designed to do this. And it's not me experience. It's nothing to do with either of us. So what's the
No,
point of yelling at them about it?
right.
But you can phone it in, and there's a role for phoning it in through this experience. You're looking for a direct connection to that reality that Ramana's been speaking of, and you've heard the words, and you're trying to find how do you do it. You want to find a direct connection to that reality, not
Mm,
just have it mentally. But the only way to do it
hmm
is to hold the mental picture discernment. You're looking for it while you're going through these experiences, and you'll have the one that hits it when it's time. And everything you went through is why you had that. Gratitude dissolves pain. The suffering you've gone
Yeah.
through for 20 years to get to the point where I was in the car park, where I could finally walk in there, and it just went. I had to have a
Right.
moment to adjust as I walked into the room. But what does it matter? It has no relevance to anything. It's not them talking. It's not me they're talking to. What do I believe? Who am I? When all I do is treat them like shit and treat myself like shit, and it's all for nothing. It has no relevance. But I actually felt it. So when I walked in the room, I had no investment at all. It just went naturally. I didn't have to do it. Like Ramana said, all you have to do is be willing to see it, and it will let you go. Now I've been willing to see it, like Katie,
For
like you,
decades.
for decades, and I've been seeing it on levels for decades. But that was a whole other level.
Yeah.
That was a whole other
Yeah.
level. And then
Phil,
it all clicks. You see it. Oh, wow. You're held the whole time.
the
You were
whole
held the
time.
whole time.
I don't argue that at all either. I think the human or the egoic Katie pops her ugly head in there and is so grieving all the things we're not doing together now that we did for all these decades, right? Like, so the human Katie is like, well, when can't we all just love each other, right? And like, and misses the adoration I felt from them. It's gone. It's like dead gone. But is it? And like, was it real to begin with? And it was
Exactly.
all right.
What
It
was the
was
motivation?
all active. It was all action oriented around what are you doing? What are they doing? But I
To
don't think,
fix a problem,
but when you
to fill a
say,
hole.
I don't think you ever abused your family. Like, verbally. I think I don't feel that from you or me or Sonia.
No, no, no. It's not about the action so much, but the, what do I do with this?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and where your mind goes. And that's the only way you can put it. You've got this anger, this pain and anger that you can't do anything with.
Hmm.
And you feel, it has obviously your parents are your primary model for being a human, masculine, feminine. You model it off your parents, how they treat
Then
you
we're
has a
all
big impact.
screwed.
Yeah, right. Well, that's right. That's the sins of the father, the belief system that doesn't agree with the absolute reality are passed on to the next generation because that's all we're vulnerable to that. And that there's something about that that causes us, you should have done better. And you're right. You didn't take responsibility for your own pain and you handed it to me and forced me to distort myself to get love that should have been there naturally. And there's truth in that.
Yeah.
But it's also true that the truth of who you are is untouched by any of it. Do you want to be right about that story and get closure through the story by convincing them of your point of view? Or do you just want to go to the
Not worth
truth
it.
that none of it's relevant?
Freedom, truth, and freedom. That's it. That's all.
That's it. So the self that has the problem is an adaptation to that false scenario.
Yeah.
But the false scenario it doesn't change the absolute reality. It just blinds you to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It
you can hear the
hurts.
words, but you've got to experience it directly. It's direct experience is the only thing that works. So we're still living in the past, and that's what we're all going through.
It's it's unbelievably painful. Like
It is. It's the
that's
hardest
why
thing
I've
I've ever.
I've avoided the past two family events because I know I can't, my body can't handle that kind of pain right now. So I just
You're not ready.
not
Yeah,
right now, not ready yet.
not clear enough. Yeah,
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
that's
me
yeah,
either.
because it's crazy. Like because you're when you first wake up. basically everything is like just avoidance strategies or like coping strategies. Or like
Yeah,
yeah, my whole personality basically is formed from, yeah, reactionaryism, from these really insanely intense and feelings. And that's where basically all of my addictive tendencies have come from trying to get out of how my family not made me feel, I don't know, how I
I
yeah,
was
it's
know.
like
made
a,
to feel
yeah,
around my
You can
family.
say the things.
it's okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wow, now I can't do that anymore. And it's like,
And
oh, but
just
it's, yeah,
means to,
it's being the bad guy basically, which I'm getting more comfortable with being the
Yeah.
bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he's still here. Does he know he's not muted?
That's Katie. I
Maybe.
mean, my family events weren't even that fun, so I feel like I'm not
You
even
know,
really missing out.
I don't think mine were either. I it was like forced fun. It was yeah, I don't miss them. I miss the potential because I think my sister is absolutely hilarious and one of the cleverest people I know, and my nieces are adorable and sweet. My son, like the truth of who they are, I love. I see the potential of what we could have, and it's like right now it feels dead. There's no way. And then I get scared like if it goes too far, is there no reconciliation? Is there no chance for
Yeah.
us to love each other and be together? Like that makes me sad. And then people say to me, yeah, you might not be with them again in this lifetime. And I'm like, oh,
You got it. That's your version of falling off the roof. Everyone's falling off the roof. It's a total experience that you can't go back from. You've got to be willing to lose everything because you know
yeah,
when you're falling to your death, you're going to lose everything.
yep.
But is that all there
It,
is?
Not right, right. Because the day that I came home from 909, of course, the day that I came home from New England this week, and I reached out to try and get together, and then I reached out and received no response to the two. And it's just, I think that was it. I think I'm done trying.
No,
Like, I don't
exactly.
think I can anymore. It's not helping anyone. It probably triggers them and upsets them. I think just pretend,
Yeah,
in a weird way, pretend the other one doesn't exist and let God and what's happening in the world do its thing.
exactly.
I can't
Precisely.
do it.
And you're right in the sense that the version of them that you're experiencing doesn't exist. It's not real. And
No.
the dynamic of the relationship being completely dead was always there. It was never going to work from day one. So you're
I
just seeing
know.
reality for what it was, always was. It's just that, like falling
It's a
off the
hard
roof.
thing to see.
The absolute reality of the real truth is you punch through the base of that you get back to the starting point of where you were before you left yourself within this dynamic. You come back there with the ability, because you've fallen through the whole scenario. Now you've got as the way Ramana put it, when you know your own mind, you know all minds. You're going through a process of falling back through everything you've experienced and recontextualizing the whole thing. So when you come back to who you really are, which has never went anywhere, that truth of who you are
Yeah.
you were born into is still there. It's just you've got to reconnect Katie that you are now, lose everything you thought you were to the fall with the truth of who you are, but with full understanding of the totality of everything you've experienced in the right context. And the whole thing just goes, but it's falling, you're going to hit the ground and it's all perfect.
I think I hit the ground and went to 0 point many years ago and have been fighting it ever since.
Same. Yeah, pretty
Look,
much.
you're still in the yelling, flailing like phase of falling
Well,
in a
I guess
way.
I just don't understand is, and I've said this again and again and again, like where the malice or the coldness comes from. If somebody didn't do anything, why respond in cold, in silence, in punitive? Like, I just don't understand that response, I guess.
Yeah. It's very childish, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that's literally right. And all the versions of Katie that don't know what you know between the roof and
Yes,
the
is
ground are
arguing.
catching up with what you know. You're passing through each age group, each age level that still holds that pain.
Yeah.
And as you move through it, they merge. So it's like your understanding deepens, your ability to hold the process expands, the emotional intelligence to stay with it, knowing that there's a golden thread process and you're seeing something there. Then you start catching the words, the phrases, you start catching the pieces of the puzzle that make sense. The picture doesn't form yet, but you're catching, and
Mm-mm.
you're catching them. The whole process deepens. So your mind's ability to hold the process of falling
The
rises, and you
capacity
become more objective. Exactly, and the awareness that there's a process happening, you stop
hurts.
fighting it, etc. Yeah, it just deepens and deepens and deepens.
People
And
can
the
tell me all day
investment,
long they're not talking to me and it's not them who's talking. You can tell me that all day long, and I still feel like they think I'm a gun-toting Republican homophobic fucking asshole.
yeah,
Like, it still feels
it's
that
still
way.
there. I get it. Same
Okay.
here. But
It's so
I mean, I
lame. It's so
did buy a
shallow.
shotgun. I know. But
It's like
that's the inversion.
your worth is tied to these
yeah,
These
categories.
value.
It's so
It's a
crazy. But
hierarchy
again,
of value.
I know, like, we've worked really hard though to get out of these programs, so it's not, I had to remind myself, like,
go
it's not gonna be,
Yeah.
they're not gonna get it
overnight.
overnight.
Right.
And the real
That's good,
work is
Sonia.
is questioning your motive in every single moment, questioning the self that's experiencing it in the motive, the self. What
Yeah.
motivates the feeling, the experience? Is it intrinsic to the experience, or is it my interpretation that's creating the suffering? That's essentially what you're asking.
Interpretation all the time.
Yeah.
Interpretation.
It
It's
doesn't make it
interpret
any easier.
doesn't make
No,
it
it
any
doesn't.
easier.
It doesn't. Not
It's
not.
my perception,
But
my
it's
interpretation, the story I'm spinning. I know that. I know that. Stop
it's
doing
the
that,
only way to
Katie.
get the
Stop it.
answer. That's right. Stop it. But you can't will it out. Like you can't. It's not an act of will any more than inspiration is. And that's why he told me life is art. It works that way. Yeah, you're getting out of the agenda of the version of creativity that's trying to get something from it. It's like
Yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to the Renaissance. It just pours through you and out, and the complexity of your ability to express it grows and grows and grows, and the genius that comes out of it, like the Renaissance. I mean, one person who can sculpt, paint, create scientific formulas, mathematics, one person can do all of that at a level of genius that no one really
Mm.
alive now can match. And it was just
Walter
happening
Russell.
naturally.
Walter Russell.
Tesla, people like that,
Yeah.
yeah. But even then, I mean, Da Vinci, he
Mhm.
could sculpt like, one person can spend their whole life trying to get even close to what he was able to do in one art form, and he was doing it across the whole range, including science, masculine, feminine. But to them at the time, it was simply there was a natural curiosity to life. It's the same thing. Once you get the spiral process out of the way of reversing the inversion, then life comes back in the same way. Your ability to hold that level of intelligence and
Creativity, intelligence.
genius, the emotional intelligence there, and then the mind's ability to translate it, to figure out, I'm inspired to create uh, a sculpture that looks like the movement of a horse. I just saw this horse gallop through a wave and pour through this wave and the whole energy of it. I just got to find a way to replicate that and they'll keep on going and figuring out ways of using what stone do I use, how do I creating tools that will help them that don't exist yet, etc., etc., etc. That's the masculine principles job. And then it just grows from there. And that's what's
Mm,
coming. So
mm.
it's not all about reversing the inversion. Once you
I like
come
it.
back to ground
I
zero,
love that too.
with just the love of the all that is, when you know your own mind, you know all minds, you can see through the distortion that your parents embodied in their facial expressions to the pain that you've
Yes.
experienced the what it does to you, and you can see
Yes.
through all of that to back to them, just like you see through all of it back to yourself. You've experienced it. Because of that, you can see through it everywhere you look.
And isn't
Well,
it what you
what's
said,
left? Love.
Gareth? You said the song of the universe will erupt in
Will
your
erupt in
heart.
you. That's the way Tom put it.
I love that.
And what was my first experience of seeing the all it is in 5D when I was 2? I was humming a song. What do
Hmm.
you see all kids do before they're fucked up? They're just singing. Oh yeah. Well, that's
Yeah, they're
no
just
what yeah. Well, what they're singing isn't this random gibberish. The frequency, the human race has a core frequency, the planet has a core frequency, they're the same. But Sonia has that frequency expresses itself in another layer, which is unique. And that has a sound. Right? You're made in the image and likeness of God. The universe starts with a sound. Let there be light. Tom, T, Om. So that white light comes out of frequency sound into form, which is holographic projection. Well, we're the same. We're exactly the same. That single frequency that everything comes from that I saw when I was 2 turns into so much more. But it all comes from one thing as well. So Sonia has a unique song that she connects with the inspiration of life. There's this dance of music. It's like a symphony. And your ability to express it and receive it just expands as your mind grows around that core reality. So getting the ego that controls out of the way, which filters all of that out. That's why you hit the wall because you can't feel anything anymore. Once that belief system, this is who I am and that's what it is destroyed by the reality. No, it isn't. Direct experience. You put in situations that you don't want to be in so that you can realize it was never what you thought. And the only reason you didn't want to be there was because it was what you thought. And it's actually where the most connection to love is. The last thing I wanted to do when the Arcturian said it's time for you to speak publicly was speak publicly. And what I've had to live through since then, watching back the videos, like, fuck,
I know.
Jesus, it makes you want to squirm. But I also knew, okay, it's the only way to
And then you
realize what
met
the hell I'm
Katie. And
Then I
then you
met
met
exactly,
Katie.
exactly. And Katie met me.
Yep.
Interesting, huh?
Ah.
I'm asking for help. Okay, well, I don't know what to do. Please help me. I just need some help. Like, I don't know. I'm terrible with, I'm burnt out. I'm terrible with the internet and social media. Like, it's just like I've had so much, I just can't go there anymore. I need help. And then boom, Katie turns up right when she's on her knees. Oh, no, don't worry. This is all perfect. You'll be dancing in the street, I'm telling her. This is,
And I'm
if you
like,
knew what was happening, you'd be dancing in the street. And she's going, yeah, fuck you. Perfect for each other. And then Sonia turns up right
I
when
just
we're
keep I keep fantasizing about making so much art when I get out of this phase.
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
just like,
exactly.
I'm just
And it's
right?
natural.
I fantasize about caring that it's a beautiful day outside. I fantasize about loving loving the nature that everyone's like, just get in nature, it'll make everything better. Like fucking I was in nature for a week, dude. I'm still me.
No.
I like I don't
I
care.
Yeah.
haven't left the house. Yeah.
I
It's
know.
it's
And then you shame yourself for not leaving the
it's
house and doing all the things that'll help you. And I'm just like, after
and
all
there's
this,
another feeling. And there's another
yep,
story.
there's another
And there's another
story.
question. Yeah, but is it really true? Can I really know that I'm a bad person for staying in a house, or is it absolutely part of the process when I ask for help?
Totally
This
part of
is
the
the help.
process.
Oh, and now now you got the same old problem. Oh God, I don't know. Fuck. and you're
It's
burning
and
it.
we're cornered both ways. Like I
Yeah.
try to make myself feel better, but that's avoiding, and so then I have to do the thing that makes me feel worse until I
And what are
finally
we
just
avoiding? We're avoiding
just
conflict.
yeah.
Conflict. And what does it put you in the conflict? Like, so the self that has the problem with conflict is really the self that has the problem with change
I
because
actually
it's a
would
risk.
love conflict just because it's engaging. Bring the
Well, you're an
conflict to
Aries.
me. Ask the
Yeah.
question.
Katie, you're an
Let's get
Aries.
it.
I don't
It's
know.
in the job description.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I don't mean in a combative fighting, I don't mean it that
Aries
way.
always thinks you're not being combative, but I'm I am a total conflict avoidant.
But
So
I know if we had the conflict, if we're in person talking, things can get resolved.
That's it.
that's like every
Communication.
Aries will say.
Come on, man. But
And
avoiding
I
it
give it,
doesn't give you any clarity or truth.
It's
Avoiding it
true.
doesn't.
It's true. Yeah.
no, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we we
Just
we
talk to
we
me.
take we're taking the
Silence is
piss of
just
it.
like, ugh. I know. No, I'm okay. I'm a good sport. I'm fully aware of how much, too much I am and have always
No,
been.
okay, you've got a Pisces moon. The interesting,
Ah, you have
both sides of the
Pisces
equation. Yeah, you're the
moon.
start and the end.
That's why
You
I
get
like, okay. My
it's
North
like the
Node is in
conflict.
Pisces. There we go.
Yeah, I'm a Pisces.
That just
So
answered this whole thing between us, Sonia. Is that what
that's
happened
Yes.
the
just
one.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand.
Pisces connection.
Okay, okay. But
North
but
Node, North and South Node, very important. That's your life path, your soul purpose is in meeting the dynamic of Pisces, getting the balance of positive and negative right. Meeting the way Pisces can operate, the how do I put it, the divine purpose of how Pisces takes life. But then the pitfalls of Pisces trying to react against the inversion, getting the balance right. And the South Node is the comfort zone. Like when we
There we
feel that's
go.
too much, we retreat. So looking at the sign of the Virgo in the South Node, keeping everything in order, like
just so,
that.
just so,
Yeah,
yeah.
just so ting. And when you're doing that, you realize, oh, okay, whoops,
I
I've just
just
got
know
to
that
let it flow.
I just know that even in the conflicts, even when the words have been said over the past, 5, 7 years between the family members, clarity comes from it every time. There's like a release of the pressure of saying nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. Well,
And
you're
but
absolutely
they
right. It's just
but they won't
my
even
Asian
right.
Right. Yeah.
suppression. Don't say anything, it's like,
Yeah.
oh God, it's so bad. Because when it all comes out, it's just so toxic, like really
Yeah.
toxic.
That's right. And that's been used against Asian cultures by those of the interference for a long time, and what's playing out in China right now is very, very, very important, very important. And they won't win. They're trying to use the social conditioning that they've put the Chinese culture through, for not just since communism, but before that as well. But the root, because the Chinese, the Asian mind is extremely powerful. Tom described the culture or the civilization, the genetic seeding lineage that the Asian cultures all come from as those of Ashan, Ashan, the civilization. So it's one of the 24 civilizations. Remember the fractal of colored light. Each civilization, there are 24 bands of light. So all civilizations are kind of variations of those. So it's like a microcosm of that form of civilization that exists throughout the universe. So, but the Chinese culture is spiritual. The mind is extremely powerful. Same with the Hoover, which is the Hebrew. He described their civilization of those of Hoover, which has the identity, phonetics, HW, WHO, who am I? He called them the Whovid, ID, ego. Getting a handle on that, the mind is extremely powerful, and both cultures can get very stuck in ritual and belief system as a defense against trauma. But the spiritual connection is way too powerful. And it's very ancient in China, extremely ancient. It's very old. And same with the Hebrew. So there's a wrestling match going on when Britain handed over control of Hong Kong to China. That was always set up from the start because the Western cultures were ahead of the table of the corporate system from the Roman Empire. That was then formed while they were setting up the legal system that was necessary for the fourth beast system rising from the sea. You know, they had to go through a process from the Roman Empire to the British Empire and expand it globally first, and then the last step was to hand it to the Chinese, the head of the Asian cabal, because this group is like a cabal of all these different races. It's like they're trying to take all of the elements of the seeding process and invert them. So there are families that represent those cultures that have been inverted to the satanic cabal. So the last one was going to be China. And that's what's been playing out right now. That's why Tom told me Australia is the future. They're going through a process of trying to take Australia over right now. And so there's a battle going on. So the handing over of the corporate system through Hong Kong, which Britain built up to the form it needed to be in, BlackRock and Vanguard. So now BlackRock, the Chinese Communist Party, the major shareholder. So they're running this now. They're at the head of the table.
Yeah.
But by taking on Australia, they've actually taken on their nemesis because of the Aboriginal culture, the power of the connection to the land, which is the opposite of admiralty law, common law. It's all an analogy of disconnecting our frequency, the human body's frequency, to the planet's frequency. But
Impossible.
the Giza plateau switched on, bang. And that's a big deal because the frequency of the planet and our body is too powerful. That happened because of all of us. Our willingness to ask that question while we were falling. Who am I really? Who's the one who's afraid of death? Is it real? Death isn't real. When Tom said he describes the reversing of the inversion with you, what are they trying to do? They're looking for a way to make the transition with you. What's an analogy for death? Transition. The manner of transition of humanity has never been done before in the history of the universe. So the collective power of what Sonia's doing and Katie's doing and I've been doing and all the millions of people around the world are why it hasn't worked. And the physical manifestation of that, the frequency weapon that's coming back at them is the very frequency we emanate from. And it's just been amplified out of all their capacity to fight back against by the pyramid, the Giza plateau. Tom, the Sphinx was built for Tom. So this whole thing was set up ahead of time. The Nazarene set up the first civilization, Atlantis. All of these structures were built then for this time right now. All of the genetic lines that was put through the Atlantean civilization and then amplified again when the Nazarene turned up and spread out around the world, secret agents to match their strategy of the Roman Empire, secret agents, the religious thing, Paul, that's the lying spouter is an example of that. All of the MK Ultra agents that have been put in to societies around the world ahead of time for the migration, the immigration wave, the attempt to destabilize civilization, society. It's all been set up ahead of time, the counter move. So China's now, it fully invested in a corporate system. They were relying on it being the only thing that existed, that there wouldn't be any alternative. The Fed Reserve process, the central banking process, it's all been set up by them so that they could collapse it. They were immune to the impact of it. But the problem is there's an entirely alternative system that they can't access, ready to rock. So at the same time, Iraq's been going through this whole process of setting up a financial system that's backed by gold that's completely independent of the central banking system. Well, that's ready to go. That's all been set up. They haven't launched it yet, but the rate change of the dinar, because remember, hyperinflation destroying civilization. Hyperinflation is one of the tools they use. Everything that's been used against you will be turned back to the user. So this rate change, all they've got to do is move the decimal point 3 4 zeros to the left, and anyone who has that currency now is a billionaire times 1,000. And that was all used to back this new financial system. And there are a whole lot of currencies like that's the reason they've used the South African Zim bond, a gold bond that was issued by the government as a countermove to the hyperinflation that was hit by then. Well, that was done deliberately to meet this time right now. So those bonds are one of them, a 50 T Zim bond is worth, because the value of gold, they can't artificially control it. That's why US was taken off the gold
Standard.
standard.
Yeah.
That's the
Yep.
tactic they've used.
Yep.
What they've done though is created a Titanic for themselves. They're completely trapped by their own system,
Yay.
while an entirely new system has been built, kept off to the one side. All of the creative energy of the people who started waking up to this in 2016, when the fourth dimension started to dissolve at the impact of the fifth dimension because of the question, the amount of people that were falling off the roof going, hang on, what's the truth?
Mm.
Allows that, because remember, it's all about free will. We have to
Mhm.
invite their system in for them to win. But if we went the other way and asked for the truth, we've invited the truth in at their expense. And that's exactly what's happened. And as soon as the Giza plateau switched on, everything in the physical will now conform to that choice, full stop. So the whole human race is about to fall off the
Ooh,
roof.
7:33.
9:33.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's happening. So everyone's going to have to face the reality. They're going to fall off the roof, lose control. The whole system's going to collapse around them. But what they don't know is it's all perfect. They have to meet the feeling and the story. They have to face the fact that they've allowed their anger and reactionaryism to destroy the very thing that they were trying to create. They've allowed vaccine programs and biological weapons to come into the world without stopping to think. What are the ramifications of laws that contravene the Nuremberg Code designed to stop crimes against humanity? Could it be crimes against humanity? Is there any truth to what people are saying about the vaccine being a biological weapon then? Because the pattern is right there in front of you. But if you don't want to look at it, because it means you're going to lose control and feel the feeling you're trying to manage your whole life, you would rather be right, and you're going to argue with everybody who says anything different, just like everyone who argued with fascism, who said this is not a good idea. And what was the net result? So many people in Germany committed suicide. Once the Nazis and the media heads were out of the way, they had to buy the reality. They bought the lie. It's the only reason it happened. Same with this. Everyone's going to fall through all of that, whether they want to or not. But when they hit the ground, nothing.
We'll be there to pick them up.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's why you need to know, Sonia, what you're talking about. When your family turn around and say, what the fuck? You could say, it's all right. Just do this right now, this little bit right now. Well, for all that you are, give only what's asked for. You'll know exactly what that means. You'll know how to time everything. You'll know how to read the pattern they're falling through as they're falling through it and say just the right thing at just the right time to help them pop through the next level. Because you've experienced it directly. Katie's experienced it directly. I've experienced it directly. Like Tom said, you do not truly know a thing until you have lived it. And there are a lot of people in the Intel community who are going to learn that.
Yeah.
And there's a big need growing within the people who are going to those channels that isn't being touched by that yet. And there's a whole new dynamic about to come out of it, because there are a lot of people around the world who no one's heard of yet, who do know what they're talking about, who have gone through the process of like, I can't talk about this because my experience of talking about this my whole life has not been good. But they're going through their own personal journey of being able to just stand up and speak and realize that there is a whole lot of people out there who need to hear exactly that, because they're at precisely the right point to hear it
Yeah.
in a way they wouldn't have heard 5 years ago. COVID, they've like the Arcturians told me a year before it happened. The final point of their plan is their most vulnerable point. If
Mhm.
they lose control of the narrative, it will undo problem, reaction, solution, divide and conquer. And then the domino effect. If they lied about COVID, what else have they lied about? The lie, and a system that can pull off a lie on that scale. The very thing all of these conspiracy theories have been pointing at. All roads lead to Rome. That no one's ever wanted to know. All of a sudden, they all tie together. The whole picture goes click. The media's ability to hold off whack-a-mole destroyed. The fact that the flow of information has been controlled very precisely since the Roman Empire. Bang. And the whole history of humanity, as Napoleon said, the victor writes the history. Digitization of files, an attempt to wipe out the records of everything. Fortunately, there's a whole galactic federation who've been recording the entire process. We just have to be able to invite that in. And that's what's happened. Domino rewrites our entire history all the way back to Atlantis. The human race sees the whole thing from beginning to end in a way no other race in the history of the universe has. Bang. The whole fabric, we are the most physically dense race in the universe. The whole fabric of space-time in the universe shifts to that awareness and emanates all the way up. So every single race has access to that awareness, just like Katie's family
Mm.
has access to Katie's direct experience. So when the system starts to fall apart, they'll move through it way faster and they'll be so, their gratitude towards Katie will completely destroy everything that's ever happened because they'll know
Mm.
the reason that they're able to meet this. Sonia's family,
Yep.
they'll be on their knees. Oh, thank God. But you won't have any investment in them saying that.
Nope. I won't
It's all right,
care. There
stand up.
won't be
It
I
was,
told you so's. There won't be. That won't be a thing.
that's it. Now, the fact that I could just say all of that and you could hear all of that tells you where we're
I know, right? We're kind of special.
at. Well, look,
I know, right? That's the
yeah,
app. I know. I know. The
we
extraordinary ordinary. Yeah. Yeah.
someone has to be able, it's important to
But
name it. Someone
yeah,
has to be able
and
to name
yeah, and what is it? Before enlightenment, chop
it.
wood, carry
Shopping,
water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
yeah. And they
Yeah.
describe reality of this, the extraordinary ordinariness.
Yeah.
That's why it looks the way it does on the ground.
Why does it gotta feel like this? It's so awful.
But but
939.
but it's like here when we're all in the same frequency, I feel fine.
I feel better.
I feel
Yeah,
fine,
totally. Exactly. So what's
fine. But
true?
it's so but when we
There's
get
the,
off and then I get I'm
I know. I
yeah,
know. It's okay, Sonia. Me
yeah.
too.
like, oh God, this
The
Oh
boat
truth of who you are is
no.
this boat ride
untouched
needs
by
to
anyone.
stop.
That is kind of my favorite. The truth of who you are is untouched by any of it. I rely on that one a lot.
Exactly. Exactly. When you're going through all of this, you realize, oh my God, I'm talking myself into suffering about something that doesn't exist. And all I've got to do is relax and let it all be there as it is, as I think it is, and the truth will come through
Yeah.
that it's none of it's real. But you can say it to yourself, but you've got to experience it. There's a role for holding that awareness while you're going through what you're going through, Sonia. But you've also got to go through what you're going through to be on the other side, to realize it was never true.
Yeah.
It's not the truth. And then there's only one thing that can happen. You'll connect to the reality. Love is all there is, and everything else was just a mental construct. Thoughts masquerading as feeling is suffering.
That's one of the first things Lori taught me after my awakening. He said to me, if it isn't love, it isn't real.
Yep.
And I love that. I
We just
latched
don't.
onto that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we just it's every
We're
day
not
is
all
like,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. The word love, you superimpose spirituality over the top of suffering to edit it out. So, love, the truth of love is a connection to reality that's speaking to you constantly.
Constantly. Yep. Yep.
Just bear with me, I'll be back.
Oh, we can end the call.
Yeah.
Maybe
This
I'll
was a good one.
You liked it? Oh, good. I'm always like, oh, I hope I didn't talk too much. And I really want to hear more about what Sonia has to say.
No, 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 no. But the trick is you gotta like, or for me, you gotta get Gareth going, you know?
Right? It's
You
like
gotta get him.
it's like you start off a little, hmm, hmm. like that little engine that could, right?
Yeah,
And then Gareth's gone, and he's just spitting
nice.
out gold left and right,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
channeling that.
The whole money thing. I want to re-listen to that. I didn't. So
I
it's like
never,
is a new money system coming?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so a lot of people were in on it 10 years ago, of people I know. In fact, one of them is the woman friend of ours who introduced the two of us. And so
Oh,
all these people were collecting these bills,
bonds.
these bonds, and these coins 10 years ago. And so, I don't have any of it, but I'm very interested to see how it plays out. And I'm really happy for the ones who do.
Yeah,
Right? Right? And I think we know a few. So,
I think so.
yeah. I mean, like when you talk about, because then I think about the falsity of currency, period, right? Like, okay, so if it's being replaced by something, how's that better? Other than it's not controlled by those of the interference. So I guess I don't know. The whole currency thing goes like woof right over me. Like as soon as somebody says Bitcoin, I'm like, I gotta go. I got something to do. You know what I mean?
I got into Bitcoin. I thought it was pretty interesting. What I don't understand is why wouldn't like the Galactic Federation just bring in a bunch of gold for us?
Well, there is a Chinese family that has, and I think they're tied to the Galactic Federation, who have a lot of gold. And it is, I think
Okay.
it's specifically a Chinese family. I don't know. He probably went to use the restroom. I can ask him when he comes back, but that's how I understand that. But like gold's up to like 5 grand right now, or 4 grand. I don't know. Silver's climbing back up, thank goodness. Um, but the money thing, yeah. I don't have Bitcoin. And even when he talks about it, I'm like, okay, that's great. Whatever you're saying, that's great, but I don't get it.
I listened to a lot of Jack Cruz for,
Yeah.
for the Bitcoin stuff, but
And then there was I think Jay Griff and Aaron Apke. I don't know if they were financial. I feel like they were for a spell, maybe not so much anymore. And then Otto Gomes does cryptocurrency. There's a lot of really good heart-centered people who do the currency thing around faith. Hey, Gareth, we were just talking
Hmm.
about this
Mhm.
supposed like there's lore about a Chinese family, ancient Chinese family that holds a lot of gold
The Dragon family.
in protection for humanity.
Yeah,
Correct? Okay.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
And
Excellent.
there are others. Yeah, because remember, this whole thing started in the Atlantean civilization, and it was playing out for a while before, Tom basically reset civilization through the destruction event, which
Right.
is being replicated now. But although he said, thankfully,
I
we are
love
more
this.
compassionate now, so it's not
Yeah.
going to be as intense as it was back then.
Right.
But it does
Except
need
for
to be
me and
destroyed.
Sonia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, see,
wait, but
it's
also like can't we like produce gold from our minds?
that is what I was just going to say. Instead of it being physical coming from the outside in, it's coming from the inside out. So
Okay.
that's what
Oh, I
the
just
way
got
the way it's
goosebumps head to
been.
toe.
Yeah. Well, that's what the whole thing with the Nazarene is all about.
All
And the
this and
homeopathic
more.
dose of the truth of who we are, he took into our collective consciousness when he was crucified. He allowed that to happen. He could have
It,
stopped it. That's
I
that's
was
what that's
watching
all.
I was watching some of the Chosen today. But what's the quote, Gareth? All this I do and more. Why
All
are you
this and
so
more.
amazed?
Why are
All
you so
this
amazed? All this and more you too shall do, for as I am, so too are you. That destroys Catholicism. That right there completely destroys religion.
decimates it. Love it.
All religion, which
All
he also
religion.
said, the time for
Yes.
religion is over.
Okay.
We do not need your worship. In ritual, love becomes redundant. And ain't that the history of religion throughout the last 12,000 years?
Mhm.
What are they doing? Let's
I,
kill each other in the name of God because you're wrong and I'm right.
I
What?
I add to Tom's quote of the time for religion is over, the time for God is now. I always add
Sure.
that, right? God,
Hmm.
universe, source, creator. Time for
Yeah.
religion, because that invites the whole, if you say the time for religion is over, that's, you got to remember, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because that's one thing that's in
Very.
my profiles, in my description, and when mom and I talk, is like, we ditched the idea of religion, we just held tight to God, right? Like we figured that out, not to throw that out
There's
with
a
the
real exactly. There's a reality because remember they have to allow the truth to exist, and they twist lies around it. But it has to be there, or they'll contravene the law of free will. There are very strict laws around this. Their plan can't work unless we invite it in. That's it, full stop. So the whole process has been playing out for that reason. But
yeah.
again, like as the Atlantean civilization was heading into trouble, obviously it was highly enlightened. So it wasn't like everybody was going down the dark road. What did it was using the mastery of genetics in a sexualized way, because at the physically dense level of the feminine expression is at its most beautiful. It expresses the beauty of the all that is at its most powerful level. And that's what this whole apple, the Garden of Eden thing, and the why it blames the feminine. It's not, that's a distortion. It's not the feminine's fault. It's the masculine not being able to handle it, not having the intelligence to handle the power of the feminine and utilize it properly. So that's the whole thing with science was used against it. It was used to amplify gratification. It was self-gratification. The ego that controls sort of gradually formed. And then, of course, there were the majority, there was a very deep awareness of what was happening and an attempt to prevent it, just like right now. There are a lot of people who see what's going on and a lot of people who don't want to know about it. Same thing back then. So a lot of stuff was put in place when it became obvious that it was inevitable what was going to happen. So a lot of the civilizations that went into the sea, went into the earth, were really just ways of preserving the truth. And all
Mm-hmm.
the people that didn't need to go through that process went into these different societies. And then
That still
strategies.
exist.
Well, they've been bringing parts of this playbook up into the surface as civilization has been reforming, which is natural. And the inversion process, their attempt to control that process has been playing out. What we call the white hat group come from this, and the galactics have all been setting up as counter plan all the way through it. So the dragon families are part of that. There are all sorts of strategies that have been set up all the way throughout this entire
We're
history.
so protected. We're so
Oh, it was
guided and
all, remember,
held.
we were created ahead of time for this
Yeah.
exact process.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Shoot for the moon, life's best hand.
Yep.
So, like I said
Good.
to you when we met, you'd
I
be
know.
dancing in the street if you really knew what was happening.
I believed you then, even if I fought it. I've never not believed you. That's why here we are 4 years later. You are coded cellularly for my listening, for
Yeah,
me.
right. And you're the connector that I needed to be able to.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the perfection. How many, all these people, and I've had to isolate myself. So I've gotten, but together we kind of,
It's
that's the whole
taken
thing with
over the world.
civilization. Together we are stronger. But sovereignty has to be there, taking over the world.
I know. I
That's the
totally
Roman
agree.
Empire, the Shakespeare thing
Wait,
with
let's do a
Julius Caesar.
Freemason sign when freak everybody out. Don't do that. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
don't do
sorry.
that.
All
Oh,
right.
yes, that's right. I just wanted to say quickly before you go, I had this sort of download, or I don't know, I hate that word, but
I know, me too.
realization, like something I've been trying to play with, like what's the symbolism of the twin flame? Like, how does it work? And she will often have a grand square in her chart, which is difficult. It's difficult, but it's only difficult because you've got to get everything just so. Like the structure of life has to work. So it's all right angles. And if there's anything in your MO, it's like a Saturn return, like a life path of a Saturn return from beginning to end. But often the first half of the life will be about all the struggle of getting all the ducks in a row. But then once that's there, the benefit of having that there goes bing and everything just lifts. But
Ooh,
he will have a grand trine,
I
which is
know.
this undone in like unassailable optimism that life is good no matter what. But when you put them together, what do you get? A pyramid. You get the square and put it on the ground,
The
and then you get
base.
four triangles.
Oh.
There are four, and there are four, and there are
Four,
four. The soul
four.
group, the four,
Hmm.
and that's what civilization looks like. And that's
Got a lot
why
of good
Tom,
stuff coming.
The Sphinx was created for Tom, so it's a way to get the divine frequency of the divine and connect it to the planet, which is this pyramid structure, and then amplify it. And
Will the nose be repaired? Because the nose was taken off symbolically
by Napoleon,
by Napoleon. Yes. Will the
who was
nose like woof
at the
come
head
back?
of the. I don't know. Look, I'm not sure, but that's one thing. What did it look like when it was first built? Well, Galactic Federation will give you a hologram, or I
Needed
don't
it.
know what it'll be like, but
It like
that'll
got a
be.
nose job.
I wouldn't mind looking at that. What was it? Was it a lion at first?
Right, right. Was it a
Who knows?
really
Yeah,
big schnoz? Like, what was it?
Well, the eclipse is going through there next year. So next year is going to be, I think, very activating, even more
that's
activating for the.
well.
More? Don't you say that. It needs to happen by the end of this year, woman. I am tired.
I think
Oh,
you speak for
it's
a lot of people.
so bad. It's
I
really bad.
know. Well,
But Katie, we don't have cancer and we're not psychotic. That's what I tell my family.
yeah, but you did ask me, are we insane? I know. We have I know. I know.
I mean, we are,
Only a sane person would ask that.
Only a sane person would ask that.
I hope so.
I think we're
No,
gonna
I
do
I
great.
think we're doing great.
I think
Doing
so.
great.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Gareth
Oh
always
God.
tells me I'm on the money. He knows that the mornings are really, really intense
Oh,
for me. The
mornings are
morning.
horrible.
Oh,
Hmm.
you too, huh? Oh,
I
they're
think
the
because it builds up
worst.
while we're sleeping, and so we have to
Well,
like,
I think it's because we're astrally doing things and we're kind of home and then we're poof back into this body and we're like, ah, shit, this again?
Yeah, the mind's at its least uh,
Protected or walled
powerful.
up.
Yeah, the all of the complication of the thinking
Oh,
is at its lowest point. So
okay.
you'll get a clearer picture of where you're at in relationship to the astral
Right.
plane. So it feels
And then
like death.
right,
Because remember, you're
right.
falling. So the sign that you're on the money is that if you wake up and you're able to hold that feeling and ask for the truth through
I
the day,
do.
that's because you're facing who am I really? Death, ego death.
You've
And
never
it feels like
explained my
everything's
mornings to
black.
me like that. You've never explained my mornings to me like that.
Well, I mean, it's just the right time to hear it, probably.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
yeah,
it's not a
sometimes,
bad thing.
I tried to fight it last fall by just like jamming myself with caffeine because it would all start coming up, and I was like, oh God, I can't. And now I just have to.
I
Yeah.
pray. I pray. I ask for help. I express gratitude for my home and all of you and just everything. I do
Yeah.
gratitude, 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 but it's a lot of prayer and a lot of asking for help.
It's a good time to hold that the feeling and the desire to come through it in reality in a way that works. Recognition that you don't know what that is and give it to Tom to hold. I give it all to you to hold, Tom. Just show me the next step and just keep doing that. And believe me, that's not just, you're not just talking to the wind when you
That's
do that.
yes, yes, yes. That's not just mouth. What's the
No,
lip service? That's not just
you're
lip
not,
service. Yep, yep,
yeah. Yeah. You
yep.
take a
I
step, you're willing to act on that, then life comes to you in a big way.
I do ask for a protective beam of light from Altia. I
You can do
do.
that as well.
Yep,
Beam of white light from Altea. Yeah. Because
yep.
white light contains the entire story,
Spectrum, the
or
whole
the whole
story. Yep,
universe. Yeah.
yep, yep. All right. Oh my goodness.
Alrighty.
You
Cody's at the
guys
end of
feel
her.
complete?
Sure.
I
That was
love
a great one. That was I want
Yes.
to re-listen to that. There's so much in there.
It's
and there were
cool.
parts too. I Gareth was going deep, and I dissociated. But so you know
I
that
know
the
Says
information my brain isn't quite like
ready.
there yet.
Yeah,
But
says the psychotherapist.
it means nothing. Like it's
but you felt
meaningless.
it though, right? You know what I mean? Like mentally, you may not have been able to stay with it, but it's a thing because your heart knew it already.
Yeah.
That relationship is what your mind is forming around now. That heart connection, your mind's forming around it now. You've got an alternative. So that's good that you noticed that.
Yeah.
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 It's
No time to not be truthful. There's no time.
hanging. Yes, and Katie, you'll keep inspiring me to be more.
Yeah. Open.
Apparently, it's so funny that you have that response, Sonia, to my IG, because to me, it's a no-brainer to share this stuff because like
I just wonder, like, oh God, how much backlash does she get? Like, do you get like, no, no, okay, that's good. Uh,
people argue with me in comments every once in a while, but I never get anyone attacking my stories, um, other than sometimes curiosity. Mostly people that I used to be friends with before I awoke, like will go after me. But then I'm like, okay, so you'll go after me. Like I don't share contentious stuff normally on my wall. That I save that for my stories because I know they're finite. But on my wall, but they'll argue with a really truthful, deep, meaningful post, but they won't celebrate the joyous things I post, which are a lot of things. So I'm like, okay, you got issues, so I don't need to worry about what you're saying about
I'll
this
leave you
because
to that.
yeah, I'll leave
Good
you to
luck. See
that.
ya.
Good luck. Bye bye.
yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
anyway, I would love you to comment on my story, Sonia, and say, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You're insane."
We've had all the nines,
We did.
by
We
the
had
way, the whole
909
lot.
a minute ago too.
I've been watching all of them.
Yeah.
Oh nine one nine two nine three nine four nine five nine.
Yeah, and I saw
Good.
7749. I didn't mean oh 09. Okay. All right, excellent. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you to whomever this crosses their path.
And sorry I look like shit, but I don't know. Who cares?